Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of DIY or Don't Even Try.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
Today we're going to continue talking about the Ferrari F430 because after the first video, I had a lot of people saying, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? So we're going to cover 5 more topics of items that should you DIY these things if you feel reasonably competent, or should you send them off and have someone else do it, so don't even try. And again, we're going to start this off with a big disclaimer of, I have no idea your wrenching abilities. So you're going to have to use some judgment here. I'm going to try my best to explain some gotchas about these DIY jobs. And if you feel like you want to take it on, I would encourage that. If you feel like this sounds like a terrible idea, I would also say that's probably a good sign you should not do this yourself. Keep in mind, if you don't have a good set of tools and some experience, probably shouldn't do this. If you don't have certain computer tools, you definitely shouldn't do some of these things. So keep that all in mind. And of course, do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and visit normalguysupercar.com, our parts and services website, and ngsupercars.com, our dealership website. So we appreciate all of you guys have been supporting us all these years. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about 5 projects on the Ferrari F430. Should you DIY or don't even try? All right, first up, we got asked this specifically. What about changing the spark plugs? DIY or don't even try? DIY. Let me explain. Okay, so the spark plugs are, well, they are kind of tucked in there. And it is a little bit of a pain in the ass. So on the 430s, you will have to unscrew each ignition coil. So there's 2 Allen screws. I believe they're 4mm or 5mm. I can't remember. Looks like they're 5mm. You're going to have to unscrew each of those. Don't drop them. Because if you drop anything and you have the under panel on, you're going to get them lost in the under panel. And then you're going to be either removing the under panel or fishing them out with a magnet. Either way, it's going to suck. So don't drop them. But basically unscrew those. You have to pop off the ignition coil. Pop them off carefully because the ignition coils can fall apart if you're not careful. If you want to be safe, do one at a time. That way you don't accidentally mix up any of the ignition coils. But I mean, realistically, you could do them all. They are typically numbered. So there is a wire loom number on the ignition coil, but we've actually literally seen them numbered wrong. We've seen them numbered the same number twice, like it was like 1, 2, 3, 3. So, I mean, just, double check things before you just go full hog with it. The other thing to remember is that you actually torque these down with a very low amount of torque. So don't over tighten these. These are aluminum heads. If you go crazy, you can strip out the threads, and next thing you know, you're going to eject a spark plug out of the head at some point later in life, and you're going to be very sad because you're going to have to helicoil the head, and it becomes a whole big expensive thing. I would say if you don't feel confident with your ability to torque things correctly, don't do this job. Some of it's also that you can't really torque things down very easily because you can't always fit a torque wrench in there. But if you can, that's ideal. You don't have to remove the A-frame. It is helpful to remove the side panels if you want extra room. That is, optional, but helpful. You can suffer by trying to just go in like that, but it's nicer if you have this gone that you can go in that way. So I would recommend removing the side panels. It will make your life easier. It's only a couple extra minutes, but there you have it. Totally a DIY friendly job on this car. All right, next up is engine mounts. DIY or don't even try? DIY. Let me explain. Okay, so the engine mounts are, of course, way down there. And the one thing that's going to suck about doing the engine mounts, well, there's 2 things. One, you do have to remove the bottom panel. Pretty much going to need it up on jacks or something. And you're going to probably want a high-powered impact gun in order to remove the engine mount bolt. The bolt and the nut that actually go through the engine mount is a one-time use, so throw them away, do not reuse them. Now, the other tricky thing is you're going to have not only the car up in the air, but you're going to have another jack, whether it's like a trans jack or something like that, to jack the engine up and tilt it in order to get the engine mount to clear the mounting hardware. So you actually jack it on one side, and you have to know where to jack it, where it's not going to damage anything. So don't do it on the oil pan. No, don't do that. Very bad. Please don't. So I guess that would be the only thing is if you've never done some weird stuff of jacking up an engine while the car is on a lift and stuff, maybe don't try this because you can disrupt the balance of the car on the lift, and you could potentially injure yourself because if you jack the engine up too much, you might take the weight off of the jack stands or the lift. But it's actually a pretty simple job. I mean, you're talking a total of 5 bolts on each side. So there's one main bolt that is on there with the impact gun that you're gonna have to really get good beat on it to get it off. And then there's 4 other small bolts. I believe they're 17 millimeter, maybe they're 15 millimeter, I can't remember. 15, 13, 17, something like that. I want to say 17. Anyway, undo those, take those out, jack the engine up, pull them out, put the new one in, put on those 4 bolts, and then get the bolt to line through. Now you do have to kind of sometimes monkey the engine around to get that main bolt to line up, but overall, a pretty simple, good job. Doesn't cost a whole lot of money to do them. The parts themselves are like a little over $1,000, and it takes maybe 3-4 hours of time. If you've never done it before, maybe a little bit longer. So just say you could do it in a day. But there you go, engine mounts, DIY. All right, next up, F1 fluid flush. DIY or don't even try? Actually, don't even try. And let me explain why. Okay, so it's really not that big a deal. You just remove this panel and the F1 fluid is in the little container right there. Now, the reason I'm saying it's don't even try is if you're truly doing an F1 fluid flush, you do have to have the proper computer in order to cycle the F1 fluid through so you can get rid of the old stuff. Now, if you just want to suck the fluid that's in there out and put in new fluid, that's fine. It's not a perfect job and it still has a lot of the old fluid in there, but honestly, that's probably at least A-okay. So that right there, completely DIY friendly. You just need a way of sucking the fluid out, whether it's a syringe or some sort of vacuums, even like a turkey baster or something can do it. And then you top it off. The only thing is, like, you're probably going to top it off too much. I'm just giving you a heads up right now. Like 9 times out of 10, you overfill the F1 fluid. Next thing you know, you run the car, it depressurizes and it's going to puke F1 fluid all over the place. So if you come out to your car the next morning and there's a giant puddle of red fluid, don't freak out. It's okay. It just depressurized the system and overfilled it, and it just hemorrhaged it out. But to do it properly, you do have to bleed the actual solenoids, which we can do that's a whole different thing, but you could also run and cycle it through the E-diff and have it actually purge the fluid through. So you can have it purging it back into the original F1 container to bleed it, or you could have it dump into an old system and actually run through all the old fluid and actually purge it all out. So you would have to have the proper computer tools to do that. So that part of it, the computer side of it, not DIY friendly. Just changing the fluid itself can be done really, really easily if you're not looking to do it perfectly. All right, next up is flushing the coolant. DIY or don't even try? I'm going to say it's kind of DIY friendly, but you have to have some special tools. So let me explain. Okay, so you've got your coolant reservoir here, but the radiators are all the way up here. So if you're actually doing a true coolant flush where you're draining out everything, you do have to pull the plugs on the radiators right there and there. So you're gonna need the car in the air and all that stuff. Have to remove some bottom panels and things like that. So that part of it is a little bit of a pain in the ass. What's kind of a bitch on these cars is once you've drained everything and you want to refill it, the best way to refill it is with one of these vacuum coolant systems. And so if you don't have one of those, then honestly don't do this job, because if you just pour coolant in and fill it up as much as you can, there's gonna be so much air in the system that it's gonna end up burping and you're gonna end up potentially overheating and all that stuff. So you can do weird tricks like jack up the rear of the car and tilt it forward, so theoretically all of the coolant goes downhill and goes with gravity and the air comes up and rises. That has been known to be a good trick on these cars, but you kind of have to put it at a crazy angle and don't smash the front of the bumper. Ideally, you do it with a vacuum fill. So if you do the vacuum fill and you have one of those and you're experienced with that, it's pretty simple. Just like almost any other car that's got super long coolant lines. So just remember that you've got like 6 foot plus coolant lines, running all the way to the front of the car from all the way back here. And it's got a lot of coolant. It does contain a lot of coolant in the system. So overall, not a very bad job to do DIY. All right, last up for this video is sagging headliners. DIY or don't even try? I'm gonna kind of lean towards don't even try, and it kind of depends on your comfort level with trim. So let's talk about that. Okay, as you can see, this car, the headliner is gone and it's sagging. So the tar paper is sagging. The reason I don't think it's super DIY friendly is because you do have to remove all of this side trim and this rear trim. And if you're not comfortable removing trim panels with those plastic tools and the little clips and all that stuff, you can easily break the clips and it easily becomes a pain in the ass. Now, the other thing is you kind of have to know how to work with these sorts of materials. So you're going to have to clean off all of this insulation. You're going to have the right glue and be patient with all that stuff and know how to put on that glue properly. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where people who know how to do it can do it really easily. So it's not like it's that complicated a job. But if you've never done it and you want it to look perfect, yeah, maybe leave it to someone who's done it before. The other thing is, again, you have like those plastic pry tools. You have to pry out. You have to know which pieces you pry and which pieces have screws. I mean, if you have the service manual and you know where to look and what pieces to pry on and what pieces you shouldn't pry on and where to pry so that you don't break all the little clips, okay, then maybe take it on. But it's not a complicated job. It's just tricky is, I guess, the right word for it. It's not hard. It's tricky. It's got some gotchas. But overall, it's not that big a deal. And certainly you could save a decent amount of money doing it yourself. But honestly, if you find someone that knows how to do this really well, it's not that expensive. So I would say it's one of those where the cost to replace it versus having someone else do it, it's almost worth it just to have someone else do it. All right, there you have it. Another episode of DIY or Don't Even Try. So we plan on talking about the Ferrari 458. We'll also do more topics on the Ferrari F430. And of course, we're going to talk about the 360 and maybe even some other models. So if you have any ideas of certain topics you would like us to talk about, DIY or Don't Even Try, put them in the comments below and I'll try and talk about those in upcoming videos on this series. So we do appreciate you guys' support. Like, share, and subscribe, of course. Check out normalguysupercar.com, ngsupercars.com, and don't forget about our vlog channel and our live stream channel, Normal Guy Supercar Premium, right here. It's premium, but it's free. Check it out, and we'll see you guys on live streams, and we'll see you in the next video. We're going to be doing a lot of cool car stuff. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.